everybody. I am Mark Stanifer, and this is my friend and colleague Craig Fullen, and welcome to another installment of From Surviving to Thriving. Thanks for joining us again. And hey, before we get into today's topic, I need to acknowledge that for those that watched the first one around physical environment, I brought up this idea of VUCA. And Craig, you hadn't heard it before, and apparently I'm not as fluent with it as I thought. So I just need to acknowledge that I said chaos or chaotic for the C. It's really complex. So volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, that certainly describes the environment we're in. And now I've cleared the air and I can sleep better tonight.
Well, hey, I love your humility and vulnerability, Mark, right off the bat, two traits I love in people. And speaking of physical environment, going back to that first episode, as you and I have discussed, I had some career changes that I got informed about since our last little video.
Yep.
And as a result, that forced me to rethink my physical environment as I delve into some new careers. So I've got some exciting times for me ahead as I branch out. But one of the things that we both know is really important is mindset. And so
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk about that today. And why is mindset so important?
Yeah, that's a good question, Craig, and a good place to start. So, we can work through efforts to change our behavior, to change our physical environment around. We can do these things on the external. But if we don't have the right frame of mind, the right thinking in place, then the externals are not going to work. To say it different, maybe a little simpler, if you want to change your behavior, start with the way you're thinking, start with your mindset, and the actions and the behavior will follow. Think of this as kind of like a mindset check time. What's going on in your mind, and if you can get your mind and your mindset right, then the behavior will follow. I've experienced that in my life, Craig. I know you've experienced that in your life today, and I think it's totally appropriate for us to be talking about that with this second episode here.
Well, exactly. And you and I have talked about the concept that I've got called the joyful mindset before, which is really just that perspective and the way you approach things. It's everything from your attitude, your perspective, and how you show up and what you do every day.
Yeah. So I often like to start with a definition. So maybe some of you are not quite sure what we mean by mindset. If you look it up in the dictionary, what it will say is it's your established set of attitudes. And I'll expand on that and say, also your established set of beliefs. Your attitudes or beliefs, they really influence how you see the world around you. Let me paint it in a picture like this. So if you take an image, a photograph, or a digital picture, if you will, and you apply a different filter to it, let's say a black and white filter, the image itself doesn't change, but the way you experience the image does. Or if you apply a vivid or a bright or a different contrast filter to it, again, the underlying picture doesn't change, but the way you feel about it, the way you engage that picture does. That's like mindset. The event or the circumstance, COVID-19, it happened. We're all experiencing the same COVID-19 thing. Now, admittedly, some of us are experiencing it in different ways and to different degrees, but we're all experiencing the COVID-19 thing. But some of us see it black and white. Some of us see it in color. Some of us see it in vivid color. Same circumstance, same event, but our mindset filters how we actually see and engage with this event.
Yeah, what you just said, for me, I like to think about it's the meaning we give to things, right? The meaning we give to events. And so we can either look at the current crisis, and probably even using the word crisis might be something that frames your mindset. So the current situation, if you will, might be a better way, right? Sometimes the language you use is so important in this. It really could be something that puts you in a mindset of fear, of lack, of concern and worry. Or, you could also look at come at it with mindsets of gratitude and opportunity and a perspective that there's just different things that you may experience as a result that may be positive, despite what might be considered an adverse negative situation.
Yeah, that's right. I like what you're saying there, because it gets to, we have a choice, and we'll get to that here in just a minute.
Stuff.
But we have a choice, but it starts with awareness. And I think what I would tell people, what I do tell people is, you have to see it in order to be able to change it. You have to be aware that you have a mindset, that your mindset is influencing the meaning that you give to events such as COVID-19, such as working from home, maybe being furloughed, maybe having your income cut back, whatever it is, on and on and on. You are giving a meaning to that based on your mindset. And until you are aware that your mindset is what's helping you or creating that meaning, then you won't even realize that you've got a filter over this photograph and it's coloring how you're seeing it.
Well, you're talking about this awareness, and you're definitely got to be aware of your thoughts. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of them. They're kind of walking around on autopilot a lot and don't realize those thoughts are creating emotions, which are creating behaviors. So how do you become more aware?
Yeah, so I think first of all, it's like you got to create some space to recognize you have a mindset, and to ask yourself, okay, how am I thinking about this situation? What are the thoughts that are coming to my mind? What am I telling myself? The self-talk, right? Like, what is it that I'm telling myself about this situation? This is bad. This is good. This is an opportunity. This could not get any worse. So acknowledging that that is happening, and then beginning to look for it, to pay attention, to listen to how you're talking to yourself, how you're describing, how you're talking about this to others is also a clue. What words are you using when you talk about being at home now because of the restrictions that we have? What language do you use? That language, that word, those words will be indicators of the mindset. Is it language like, I'm stuck at home? Well, that's an indicator of your mindset. Or, what a great opportunity to be at home, to take a break from the busyness of our schedule, to reset, to rethink. That as well is a clue as to the mindset. And then I think the other thing, Craig, there is, once you begin to become aware, just accept that it is, without shame, without judgment, without being too overly critical of yourself. Just accept, okay, this is what it is. This is the mindset that I have been using. And it's at that point that you can begin to decide, is this helping me, or is this hindering me in where I want to go?
So I think you have to extend yourself a little bit of grace is what I'm hearing. And first just get that awareness. And then we can start to make some changes. And some of the things
Yeah.
that you said remind me of some things I've heard from some of my favorite life coaches that are, a lot of your success is based on the words you say to yourself and the pictures that you form in your head. And I think that goes to a lot of the things you were saying. And so if you become really aware of those things, that's the first step. So, okay, we could become aware, but what's next? How do we start changing our mindset?
Yeah. So back to your comment earlier about, there is choice here. That's the good news. You can choose a mindset that can help you, rather than the mindset that is hindering you. And what I would say is, to keep it relatively simple, to decide what mindset you want. So if your mindset is, I'm stuck at home, but you don't want that to be your mindset. You want your mindset to be something more along the lines of, this is an opportunity, or it's a gift or something. What is it that you want it to be? So decide on what you want it to be. And then you can take a couple paths here, write it out or record it. Either way, capture it, and then begin to review it on a regular basis. Either that's reading or that's listening. In my life, what's worked well is to write it out and read it. I know, Craig, in your life, you've actually recorded and listened to this type of thing, the affirmations and the like. But whether you write it out or you record it, the key is to listen to it, to review it, to read it on a regular basis. What I would suggest is at least once a day. Maybe it's 2 or 3 or 4 times a day once you get started, but at least once a day, take a look at it and remind yourself, this is the mindset that I want to have. And over time, it's happened in my life, it's happened in your life. Over time, your mindset will begin to be that, to be what you want. You will begin to use language that describes things in the way that you want to see them. And our brain is smart enough to figure it out and to clue in, oh, this is what Mark is looking for. This is what Mark wants to see. I will begin to look in this way and look for those things. And I promise you, it's worked for me. It's worked for you, Craig. This will work. It sounds simple, and it sounds like it's a really small thing, but it's a really powerful thing, and it will work.
Yeah, and like what I would add to that is, you said write it, read it. I'd say speak it, right? I know sometimes people are very self-conscious about that, but I think speaking the mindset that you want to have, and a lot of times those are I am statements, right? Like I am confident, I'm happy, I'm grateful, whatever those might be. But then, like you said, also just being aware of the language that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
I have like this no complaint rule that I try to abide by, where very little complaining. I don't want to be complaining to other people. I don't want to be using negative statements to other people. And so my language is reflects that now for the most part. And some, every now and then I'll catch myself kind of going into a negative place, but I'll catch it really quickly and change that. And just a real quick tip for people who do like to record the type of statements they'd like to adjust their mindset. There is a app that I've used called Subliminator, and it basically allows you to record on your phone statements that you want to reflect your mindset. And then what's great is you can actually play music and have these things in the background, or you can play them by themselves, whichever you prefer, but it gives you that option. So you've got that stuff kind of going into your head on a regular basis. So Mark, what else do we need to know about mindset?
Well, I would just say I know it sounds simple, and I used to be a little skeptical until I experienced it myself and realized how much I'm really talking to myself, and it's not helpful. How much I'm really seeing things with a bias toward the negative. And some of this also has to do with your personality wiring and becoming more aware of that. You might have a tendency one way or another based on your wiring. But these simple things can really make a significant difference if you're willing to give it a shot.
Well, this has been a great talk about mindset, Mark, and hopefully our listeners got some tips that they can use, but we'd love to hear their feedback, and we'll be back with another video here probably within the next few days.
Yeah, that's right. So thanks for watching with us. Feel free to share these to those that you think might benefit. If you want to connect with us, there's contact information at the end of the video. We would love to hear from you. And just a reminder, our personal goal through this time and our hope for you is that this will be a period of growth, and you'll come out of this on the other side better than when you came in. So that's our wish for you. And we'll be back in a few days. Until then, we will see you next time.
Take care, everyone.